Good afternoon, all of you. In the last class, we were discussing about how to find the cutoff frequency omega h by using the dominant pole concept. So let us have a brief introduction about the high frequency gain function, and then we will start discussing on the concept of dominant pole. Already I have discussed that, but let us revise it once again. So this was the expression for the high frequency gain function. And this high frequency gain function is nothing but how the gain of the system or amplifier is getting decreased with respect to frequency. So that has been interpreted by using this particular function, which is having a numerator polynomial as well as a denominator polynomial, as you can see. So this is an expression for fh of s, which is called as high frequency gain function. And you have the equation for gain already we have discussed, which is nothing but the midband gain into fh of s. So usually in the low frequency, this will be 1. The value of fh of s will be 1 or unity. As a result, a of s is equal to am. So that is what is called midband gain. So for low frequency, always the gain of the amplifier will be constant, which can be considered as a midband gain, that is equal to am. And later what happens is that at a particular frequency fh, that is a cutoff frequency, the gain will start decrease. So thereafter, the gain is a function of frequency. You can't treat gain as a constant after a particular cutoff frequency. Therefore, while expressing the gain of a MOSFET amplifier, always we have to write it in the terms of A of S, where A is a function of frequency. Gain is a function of frequency that can be written as AM into FH of S. So here FH of S is nothing but the high frequency gain function that is actually going to determine the value of gain for each particular values of frequency. Okay. So for one frequency, you will have different gain. For another frequency, you will have yet another gain. So that and all, it depends upon FH of S. And you can see FH of S is a high frequency function, which is having a numerator polynomial and a denominator polynomial. In the numerator, we are having n number of terms, and each term corresponds to zeros, omega z1, omega z2, omega zn. These are all the frequencies corresponding to zeros. And in the denominator, we are having n number of poles, omega 1, omega p2, omega p1, omega p2, etc. up to omega pn. All these corresponds to the frequencies corresponding to your poles. So numerator is your zeros and denominator corresponds to poles. So there are n number of real zeros and poles. So from this, you can see that whenever your S is very low, your frequency is very low, right? Then what will happen? You can discard this particular term, S by omega z1. That is when S approaches zero. Zero frequency means it is pure a DC signal. Okay. So whenever your frequency is zero, you can approximate S by omega z1, S by omega z2. Similarly, till S by omega zn. And in the denominator, S by omega p1, S by omega p2 till S by omega pn, all these terms will become zero. So the numerator, each and every time it will be become 1 plus 0 into 1 plus 0 like that. So numerator and denominator both are 1. So finally we can tell that whenever s is approaching 0, the value of your function is 1. fh of s is 1. So when fh of s is 1, the equation will be, the gain equation will be just am, because fh of s is 1. So for low frequency, your high frequency gain function will be 1. As a result, the gain a of s is equal to constant, that is nothing but am. Okay, so the gain will remain constant for DC frequencies, that is low frequencies. And whenever you are increasing your frequency, then the gain start decrease. That decrease, it is dependent on your FH of S. So how we can find this 3 dB frequency FH? That is what we were discussing in the last class. 3 dB frequency means, the significance of 3 dB means at that particular frequency, the power delivered to the load will become 50% of the maximum power. You are expecting maximum power at low frequencies, but what happens is that whenever you are increasing the input frequencies, your power also goes down. So at a particular frequency, you are expecting 50% of your maximum power. That is what is called a half power frequency. And in terms of gain, it will be 3 dB down to the maximum value. Therefore, it is called as 3 dB cutoff frequency. So 3 dB cutoff frequencies, otherwise called as half power frequencies, okay, where the power is decremented to 50 percentage of your maximum value, or else in other way you can say that the gain has been decreased to 70.7 percentage of the maximum value. Okay, in terms of gain, if you tell means it will become 70.7 percentage. In terms of frequency, if you, I mean in terms of power, if you tell means that will be 50 percentage of the maximum power. So that is the significance of fh. So how we can find the value of fh or omega h? So here we have two concepts. One is by using the dominant pole method. So let us check how we can find the cutoff frequency, provided if there is a dominant pole existing for a particular high frequency gain function. So the concept of dominant pole is that if you deal with this equation, only s by omega p1 exists, whereas all other terms will get vanished. Why I'm taking all, I mean discarding all other terms, because you can see that omega p2, omega p3 up to omega pn, whereas omega z1, omega z2, etc. up to omega zn, all these zeros and poles will lie very far away from my low frequency pole omega p1. So if I'm assuming that the pole omega p1 is at very low frequency in the S plane, and correspondingly remaining all other zeros and poles, they are lying at infinity or very far away from my low frequency pole omega p1. At that case, I can tell that omega p1 is my dominant pole. Okay, omega p1 is my dominant pole. At the same time, omega z1, omega z2, omega zn, they are lying at very high frequency, right? So what will happen if frequency is very high, means that denominator term is getting high, this term is high, so anything by infinity it will become zero. So all these terms it will become zero. So it will become 1 plus 0, 1 plus 0, 1 plus 0. So that will be 1 only. So 1 divided by, you will have this term 1 divided by 1 plus s by omega p1. Why? Because omega p1 is lying at the low frequency, whereas the remaining poles and the remaining zeros are lying at infinity or sufficiently far from the low frequency pole omega p1. In that particular situation, I can call omega p1 as a dominant pole. Okay. So if there is a dominant pole existing in our high frequency gain function, then I will write the high frequency gain function fh of s as, fh of s is approximated as 1 divided by 1 plus s divided by omega p1. So in that case, omega p1 can be considered as the high frequency cutoff frequency omega h. Clear? Now, what is the rule for this dominant pole? The rule is a dominant pole will exist if and only if the lowest frequency pole is at least 2 octaves away from the nearest pole or other zeros. Okay. So we don't have uh, zeros in our consideration. Why? Because normally in an amplifier high frequency gain function, all the zeros will lie at infinity. So the frequencies corresponding to zero when they are at infinity means normally the numerator will become 1. Okay, so that you don't bother. Whereas the remaining poles, if all the remaining poles like omega p2, omega p3, omega p4 till omega pn, if they are lying at least by 4 octaves apart, 2 octaves apart. 2 octave means it is nothing but 4 times factor of 4. Okay, suppose my omega p1 is lying in 100 kilohertz. Okay, so omega p2, omega p3 and all, it is lying beyond 400 kilohertz, means I can tell that the frequency corresponding to omega p1 will be a dominant pole. Okay, so at least all the remaining poles or zeros should be 4 times apart or 4 times far from the low frequency pole. Then only I can say that that low frequency is a dominant pole. So this is the condition to be satisfied for a dominant pole. So this is very important. So whenever there is a dominant pole existing, as I told you, it is very easy to calculate the cutoff frequency, because that dominant pole itself is assumed as your high frequency cutoff omega h. Clear? So, but what will happen if there is no dominant pole? That is what we were discussing. If there is no dominant pole existing in our system means, then we have to consider all the terms as such. Okay, I can't approximate it because there is no dominant pole. That particular condition is not satisfying. What was the condition? The low frequency pole should be at least 4 times away from that of the nearby pole, right? So that particular condition is not satisfying. In that case, I need to take all the available zeros and poles into my consideration. So that is what we are going to do now. So consider the example that the case of a circuit is having two poles and two zeros in the high frequency band. Okay, so in that case, I can write my high frequency gain function fh of s as 1 plus s by omega z1 into 1 plus s by omega z2 whole divided by 1 plus s by omega p1 into 1 plus s by omega p2. I hope you have written this already. You have started deriving that, but let us explain it once more. So in the generalized equation, I have taken only two zeros and two poles right now for my analysis. Why? Because I have assumed that my system's hardware is such that I have only two zeros and two poles. So if there is more poles and more zeros means it is understood that maybe you have cascaded more stages of amplifiers by using capacitive coupling or other types of coupling methods. That is why you are having more and more factors. So you have to understand that the zeros and poles number depends upon the complexity of your circuit. Okay, if the circuit is more complicated or if you are having more number of stages, then the numerator and denominator functions will be also, or the factors will be also more in number. Is that clear for you, students? So right now I'm taking only two factors in both numerator and denominator. So why I'm going for this analysis is because my dominant pole concept is not satisfied for this particular example. So if there is no dominant pole available means how we are going to compute the cutoff frequency. That is what we are going to discuss. Is the objective is clear for you? Can I proceed? Okay, so if S is equal to j omega, so what I'm doing is I'm substituting S as j omega because S is a complex frequency that is in the S plane. It can be considered as j omega. So when S is equal to j omega, I will rewrite this particular equation. Okay, after that, what I'm doing is I'm trying to take the magnitude first. Okay, magnitude of any complex number is nothing but the root of real part square plus imaginary part square, isn't it? So we will have a root of the amplitude of this can be written as magnitude of this particular term will be root of 1 square plus omega square by omega z1 square. For each term, there will be a square root and square terms. So later I have incorporated the square term. So if you are squaring that magnitude, then that square term will get vanish, isn't it? So first you will be writing the magnitude and then you will be writing the squared magnitude. Squared magnitude means that square root in the right hand side for each term, it will be deleted. So your factors will be like this 1 plus omega square by omega z1 square into 1 plus omega square by omega z2 square. It is imaginary part square, isn't it? Real is 1 only. So 1 square is 1. Imaginary part is omega by omega z1. So the square of imaginary part is omega square by omega z1 square. I hope you are getting my point. So how that square root has removed because I'm taking square in the left hand side. So I have written the squared magnitude function as you can see. Therefore, I have omitted the square root of each terms and I have rewritten this particular term. I think till this you have written in the last class. Correct now? Can anybody respond? Okay. Okay, thank you. So now what we will do is we will put omega equal to omega h. Why I am putting omega equal to omega h means I am interested to find the cutoff frequency, right? My objective of this analysis is how to find the equation for cutoff frequency of a given amplifier circuit. So what I am doing is in place of omega, I will put omega h where omega h is nothing but your cutoff frequency. And you know that whenever I'm putting my frequency at omega h, then the magnitude of high frequency gain function will be 1 by root 2. Correct? No? You just recall our general expression, the first equation. Yes, this equation. See, this will be 1 by root 2. When it will be 1 by root 2? Whenever omega is equal to omega h. Okay. So high frequency gain function fh of us will become 1 by root 2. That means am by root 2. Am by root 2 is nothing but 0.707 times of am. So please remember that whenever I am putting my omega as omega h, the value of fh of us or the magnitude of fh, it will become 1 by root 2. Okay. So magnitude of squared magnitude will become 1 by 2. Magnitude of fh is becoming 1 by root 2. So squared magnitude will become 1 by 2. Squared magnitude of high frequency gain function will become 1 by 2. Because 1 by root 2 square is nothing but 1 by 2. So what I will do is I will substitute this 1 by 2 in the left hand side. Okay, because on the left hand side I have taken fh of j omega the whole square. So whenever my omega is equal to omega h, the squared magnitude value is 1 by 2 as per our discussion. So in the left hand side, I will replace the left hand side term with 1 by 2. So please write it. So how you will proceed with that? So 1 by 2 is equal to, and in the right hand side, you have to open the two brackets, simplify it. Simplify the numerator and denominator, open the brackets and check whether you are getting this particular equation. Term wise, you have to open the bracket. So 1 into 1 plus 1 into, see, for each omega you are putting omega h. Remember, for each omega you will be putting omega h. Okay. So next is 1 into omega h square plus omega z1 square. Next is omega h square divided by omega z2 square. And the last term is omega h square into omega h square, that will become omega h to the power 4. So while multiplying, please ensure that in place of omega, you are putting omega h and then you are multiplying. And the left hand side is becoming 1 by 2. Why? Because we know that whenever my frequency is equal to 3 dB cutoff frequency, the gain will be reduced to 1 by root 2. I mean, the frequency fh of us will become 1 by root 2. And squared value of fh of us is becoming 1 by 2. That is why in the left hand side, I have replaced it with 1 by 2. So I hope you have got this equation after expanding the numerator and denominator. Any doubts in this equation? Okay. Now, one assumption is I'm trying to neglect the last term of both numerator and denominator. Why I am neglecting is the assumption is the high cutoff frequency omega h will be very much less than that of omega p1, omega p2, omega z1 and omega z2. So all the available poles and zeros are very far apart from the cutoff frequency that we are going to calculate. That is a normal thing. Okay. Omega p1, omega p2, omega z1, omega z2. That is all the frequencies corresponding to the zeros and poles are lying at a far location when compared to your cutoff frequency omega h. So in that case, you can neglect this particular value because this denominator is going to be very large when compared to the numerator. So anything divided by very large value will be approximated as a very small value. So I'm going to discard this value. I'm going to discard these two values. So you may ask why you are not discarding this, because here you are having only omega z square, but here we are having the product of two values, omega z1 square and omega z2 square. So compared to this value, this will be more. I mean, this will be very less because the denominator will be more. So the fourth term you will neglect from the numerator and denominator, and thereafter you can take omega h square common from the second term and third term and then rewrite. I hope you are writing. Without writing, you won't be able to study this, please. So take omega h square common from the second term and third term and discard the last term of numerator and denominator. And take omega h square common from the second term and third term. Then after that, you can cross multiply these two fractions. Cross multiply these two fractions, left side and right side. And one announcement, Monday we will have quiz 1. Okay, Monday from 10 to 10:30 to 11 o'clock. First half hour I will take class. Then second half hour from 10:30 to 11 we will conduct quiz. So please do attend that. So portions will be till today's class. Whatever I have taken till today, that will be included. So cross multiply these two. After cross multiplying, take all the terms containing omega h square to the left hand side, and you will be having only constants 1 and 2, so that you can take to the right side. Okay, so this will become 2 minus 1, so that you can retain as 1 in your right side, whereas all other terms consisting of omega h square, here also you are having omega h square, here also we are having omega h square, so that and all you can take left hand side and again take omega h square common. So your equation will become 1 by omega p1 square plus 1 by omega p2 square. If you take this, it will be 2 is here, right? So that 2 is applicable to these two terms. So that will be 2 by omega z1 square minus 2 divided by omega z2 square. So why I am doing like this? Because I need an equation for omega h. That is why my intention was to take omega h outside in the left hand side. Okay, because I need to find the equation for omega h. Hope you got this particular equation, Banu Prakash.
Yes, sir, I got, sir.
After that, you can find omega h. Take this term to the right hand side and find omega h. It will be 1 divided by square root of. You are finding omega h. Here you are having omega h square. So 1 divided by, this will be inside your square root. So 1 divided by square root of 1 by omega p1 square plus 1 by omega p2 square minus 2 divided by omega z1 square minus 2 divided by omega z2 square. And in a general way, you can rewrite this equation. General way means assume that there are n number of poles and n number of zeros. As of now, for our convenience, we have considered 2 zeros and 2 poles in our system. Maybe your amplifier is little bit complicated in terms of hardware. Maybe more number of multiple stages will be there. So in that case, you have to incorporate n number of poles and n number of zeros. So you can rewrite this equation as omega h is 1 divided by root of 1 by omega 1 square plus 1 by omega p2 square, etc. You can take minus 2 outside here. So if you take minus 2 outside, it will become 1 by omega z1 square plus 1 by omega z2 square, etc. up to 1 by omega zn square. So this is a general equation if there is no dominant pole existing. Okay, now let us find if from let us find whether it is possible to deduce an expression for omega h for a dominant pole case from this general case. This is a general equation. From this can we derive our special case. Special case is dominant pole existing. And if there is a dominant pole omega p1 existing, it means the value of omega p1 is locating in a low frequency region, whereas all the remaining poles omega p2 square till omega pn square and all the remaining zeros omega z1 square till omega zn square, all those things they are lying at a very far location, that is more than 2 octaves or more than 4 times. So in that case, I can discard the remaining terms. 1 by infinity will become 0. So if you take this term, that will become minus 2 into 0. So this will get cancelled. Okay. This will get cancelled because these are all at infinite locations. So anything by infinity will become 0. Minus 2 into 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0, that will become 0 only. So this entire term will get cancelled. And similarly, the term starting from here, that is from omega p2 square, that will also become 0. So 0 plus 1 by omega p1 square, that will be root of 1 by omega p1 square, which is 1 by omega p1. So this equation can be now rewritten as 1 divided by 1 by omega p1. Correct now? 1 divided by root of 1 by omega p1 square, that means it is omega p1. So now I got the equation for omega h for the dominant pole case. So omega h is equal to omega p1. So compare the two equations. This is the equation for your general case where there is no dominant pole existing, whereas this is a simple interpretation of finding omega h if there is a dominant pole existing. In that case, the dominant pole itself is assumed as your cutoff frequency. So any doubts with respect to your general equation and the dominant pole concept? Okay, now take down this problem, all of you. The question is, the high frequency response of the amplifier is characterized by the transfer function. So the transfer function is given to you. That is the high frequency gain function h of s is given to you. The equation is 1 minus s by 10 to the power 5 by 1 plus s by 10 to the power 4 into 1 plus s by 4 into 10 to the power 4. So this is your given equation. You have to find the cutoff frequency. Write the question, one statement, find the cutoff frequency omega h. Find the cutoff frequency omega h. So whenever you are getting one question, first you will try to find out whether there is a dominant pole existing or not. Understood? First we will try to find whether there exists a dominant pole or not. So tell me what is omega z1 square. Tell me what is the value of omega z1 square. No answers. What is omega z1 square from this particular equation? You compare this with your general equation of fh of s and tell me what is omega z1 square. Z1 means it will correspond to the numerator polynomial. Now you compare and tell me what is the value of omega z1 square. Yes, good. It is 10 to the power 5. So this can be considered as omega z1. All of you write omega z1. And this will be omega p1. Denominator first term. Omega p1 is 10 to the power 4. This will be omega p2. 4 into 10 to the power 4. Have you written omega z1, omega p1 and omega p2? Now tell me what is the gap of omega z1 and omega p1? It is 10 times difference is there, right? 10 to the power 4 into 10 will become 10 to the power 5. So our condition is satisfied. That is the 0 is existing 10 times far from my low frequency pole. You identify which is the low frequency pole. You compare 10 to the power 4 and 4 into 10 to the power 4, which is small. 10 to the power is 4 is small. This is your small pole that is existing in this particular system. And if you take this particular pole, it is situating 4 times apart from your low frequency pole. So that is also satisfying my minimum condition. And this is more than it is satisfying my minimum value. That is, it is 10 times far. So if you consider Z1 and P2, both these zeros and poles are lying at least 4 times away from the low frequency pole. Therefore, it is satisfying the condition of dominant pole. So I can take the omega P1 as my dominant pole and let it be my cutoff frequency. So I will approximate my function as this. These two terms will get cancelled, right? So that will become approximately equal to 1 divided by 1 plus s by 10 to the power 4, where 10 to the power 4 is my omega P1, which I can consider as omega h. That is your cutoff frequency. 10 to the power 4 is nothing but 10,000 radians per second. Omega, it is omega, it is not an F, it is omega, therefore it is 10,000 radians per second. Is that clear for you, students? So by simple observation, you are writing the answer that my pole is existing, all the remaining pole and remaining zeros are existing at least 4 times away from the low frequency pole. Therefore, it is satisfying my condition of dominant pole, and I can take omega P1 as the dominant pole, which will be nothing but your cutoff frequency. Understood? Rupendran? Rakesh? The problem is clear for you. Sriraj? Have you written the notes? Can I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, so this is your approximate analysis. Now, let us do the same problem with the actual value, exact value, and we will compare with the actual and approximated value. Approximate means we have done with the dominant pole. Okay, I have approximated my high frequency gain function since the dominant pole was existing. So let us find whether this is the actual cutoff frequency if we are incorporating the effect of Z1 and P2, the existing zero and the next second pole. So then in order to find the exact value of omega h, I have to take my general equation of derivation, whatever we have done just before. So take this equation. All of you write this general equation. In that, what and all terms you have to consider? 1 divided by root of, there are two poles, right? So 1 by omega p1 square plus 1 by omega p2 square. And if you consider the zeros, there is only one and only one zero. So minus 2 into 1 by omega z1 square. So that is my equation. So after writing that equation, you will substitute omega p1, omega p2 and omega z1. Simplify and tell me the answer. Take your calculator, do it and tell me the answer. Put it in the chat box. Check whether we are getting at least same answer. Anyway, you won't get exact 10,000 radians per second, but we can compare whether we are getting close answer. Yes, 9794.04. Yes. Okay, so that you can retain the same answer, whatever you are getting from the calculator, you will retain the same answer. So you can say that whenever you are going for the general equation